Hi, and welcome to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. My name is Chris Burres, one of the owners here at eWeb Results.
My name is Matt Bertram, one of the other owners here at eWeb Results.
Welcome back to another fun-filled edition. Wow, your voice sounds really good. Did you change mics? It sounds really good.
No, I'm just talking deeper.
I've
just matured.
You've gone through puberty since the last podcast. Is that what you're saying?
I do look a lot younger than I am, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Do you think?
I think I have a reason for that,
But maybe it's that I look a lot older than I am.
And then
you don't really know my age.
Catching up to
the
look.
Well, I heard that there was a reverse universe or something like that. It was an article they said.
I saw
right?
that.
So it's going the other way. It's going time's going the other way. So, who knows? I might get younger as time goes on. I'm, drinking C60. We'll see. So.
That'll make all of the accountants very happy to know that there's one universe going one direction and an equal universe going exactly the opposite direction. That means everything balances, right? So in that universe, does entropy decrease, or does entropy, I feel like it should go the other way, right? I don't know. I'm gonna have to read that article.
It was interesting, and look at the magical land that I'm in. You're under the sea, I'm in with Oz.
At the Emerald Castle, isn't that? I think.
Yeah.
Emerald City. So Matt and I are broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and Matt and I, we are your results rebels. I don't know if it's hang 10 or
just hand sign.
If you are watching us on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe and follow. We appreciate that. Let's see. Oh, I got a review here. This review is from High Blue. It is, of course, 5 stars. Thanks for all the tips and your great content. The title of it is actually Awesome Podcast, Guys. And then it says, thanks for all the tips. Your content is great. It's got an exclamation. And I want to give you, High Blue, an exclamation. Thank you so much for enjoying our podcast and taking the time to give us some feedback. That's pretty cool. I like that. We don't.
Well, so I wanted to tell you, I was kind of telling you before, I was doing some coaching earlier this week, right? Because a lot of, I guess, entrepreneurs that are in the digital marketing space and freelancers are trying to figure out what's going on, and they're reaching out and asking for coaching. And, I think I'm going to do a webinar on fundamental business kind of practices for agencies, and, ticketing systems. People are, asking me, what are you using for ticketing systems? What are you using for reporting? How are you tracking deliverables? Some project management stuff, really agency-based stuff. Cause I know a lot of our listeners are, other agency owners or SEOs or freelancers. And so while they want to learn about how to do it, I think they also want to learn how to run the business to do it. So, I was going to do a little bit of presentation on that for everybody that's out here. I did double our business last year before COVID.
Yes. An amazing job. And a 50% growth the year before that. So some pretty phenomenal growth. So, and I know that you went to a conference, which was just agency owners, and felt very good, not to brag on you too much, but felt very good about where you sat with all of the other agencies that were in that room, in terms of things that you'd accomplished and hurdles that you've overcome and all of those good things.
I mean, look, what is the saying
adage?
It doesn't go exactly like that, but it rhymes, kind of it doesn't sound the same or whatever, but it rhymes. And I can tell you, everybody's dealing with very similar challenges, and, some people have figured out different workarounds or solutions to it. And, if someone can help guide you do that, it just helps speed up your learning and getting through that. And then there's more challenges after the next hurdle, right? So it doesn't end, it just changes, right? So
it's what an entrepreneur is, right? Somebody who solves problems for money.
I like that definition. That's
right.
good.
I mean, that's what happens. All right. So what else do we have here? Oh, please make sure that if you're tuning in and you like what you're seeing, that you shikow us.
Share, like, follow.
That would be very nice.
Shikow.
Shikow. And I'm gonna jump in. The article that we've got here, it is Google lists 5 key trends shaping consumer behavior amid COVID-19. You were talking about challenges earlier. That's certainly an ongoing challenge. This is articles by Matt Southern. So thank you, Matt. He's a Search Engine Journal staff member. So Google published a new set of research. It's interesting. Matt, I don't know if you went out and checked it out, but there's an ability to look at how much people are traveling relative to their home versus, pre-COVID and post-COVID. Did you have a look at that?
I haven't seen that. I've been digging into what Facebook's doing with the shopping marketplace.
Yep.
I really don't care where people are going.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, tell me about it, because it is interesting if it's changing buyer behaviors. It's really, really important to know that. What did you learn, Chris?
Yeah, no. So it was very interesting to see that Google, through phones and whatever access they have to
Big
us,
Brother.
yeah, they know that, okay, people are moving around 30% less or 28% less, and they can break that down by regions of the country, by cities, zip codes. It's pretty interesting. And, I've had conversations with people who are maybe a little bit on the conspiracy theory side of things, and they're very uncomfortable with this concept of, let's say I realize I have COVID. I go to my phone and I press a button because I've downloaded an app, and I say I have COVID. And then anybody else who has downloaded that app goes, hey, somebody you are chatting with has been identified as having COVID. You should isolate yourself. There are people freaking about this whole concept. And what I shared with them, especially because they're conspiracy theorists already, is you more than me believed you're already being tracked. so why not use that tracking that you believe is already happening for some value? And so that's just proof. Like, that's showing already on a grand population with a lot of anonymity. Google can already tell us how much we're moving or how little we're moving.
I think that where they're probably coming from is that it's now in the open, right? Yeah. That they're tracking us, that it's blatant that it's tracking, and they're even kind of sharing that on the consumer side. Because, like, I can tell you right now, my computer, what is it called? Whatever the little assistant is, it starts with the C. What's her name? Cortana. I want to, she sucks some juice sometimes from my RAM, and I'm trying to block her, and I did a Google search, but every couple seconds she's on. What is she doing? She's freaking listening to me. Okay, that's what she's doing. Well, I know the phones are doing it. I know the Samsung freaking TVs are doing it, and they're tracking us. Those ads pop up. I don't know what platform does that. Okay. And that's probably going to be one of my sole missions to figure it out, because it's not the geofencing, it's not the in-venue replay. It's not some of the stuff that we know about. I don't know the platform. So somebody that knows it, why don't you email us, reach out to us on Facebook or something like that, and let me know what it is. Cause I know it's out there. I was actually at a separate, I was at South by Southwest 3 years ago. And I was sitting at a breakfast place. The people next to me were having a meeting, and they were talking about it. So I know that it's commercially available. I just need to do a little bit of research and figure out what it is. But people are like, it's happening. I know that it's happening. And they're pulling search behaviors based upon, these opt-in lists. We do have a partner, right? We do have a partner that's doing it with emails. So it's in a co-op if you go to the list, they share the IP addresses. And if you search for any of those topics that they've categorized, you can then send them a sequence of a 3-series email, and they don't even log in. Like they have your email, even though you never gave it to them because it's part of co-op. So like, I know these things are out there. I don't know on the commercial side. Do you know, Chris, like who's doing this? Like someone message us, because I don't know everything. I can tell you that.
So I've yet to experience where I've been talking about something and an ad shows up relevant to it. I have heard a lot of people talk about it. I also know, actually this morning I was lecturing my son about how infallible his memory is, right? Because he had just said something. My daughter and I heard him say it, and then he was like, I didn't say that. And I'm like, is your memory so bad that you don't remember saying this? And I got him to agree to that, like to at least that, and say, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect either. My daughter's not perfect. Like, no one's perfect. And guess what? Everyone on the planet has the same characteristic. Every now and then we think we said something and we said something else or whatever. And so I'm more inclined to chalk it up to, and I know
they did a search and they didn't remember.
Yes.
Like, okay, fair enough.
Or it's maybe it's one step more complex, that they've done searches. Like, I think they can predict whether
searches,
a girl is pregnant based on search volume that has nothing to do with baby. Like they're looking over other stuff. There's other search trends that they've seen that they ultimately become pregnant. And so there's data that leads them down that path. And so I think that's more like what's happening.
So I could tell you, like, from a data scientist standpoint, like I really haven't dove in enough to understand what those predictors are beyond the categories, right? Like, how are they determining that behavior, right? Like on Facebook, new home buyer, how are you determining that? Like, I think I've seen a study or two of, like, credit reports and some different things, but it'd be interesting to know how they're formulating all these different thoughts, because the biggest thing that I saw was all the stuff in the election, right? With Trump and what was it called? That European company,
that got taken.
Analytica or something like that.
Analytica, yeah. There's
or something like that. But that stuff was super, super interesting. But I don't know, like, on the commercial side, how all that works. And I think that I need to learn it. I'm going to put that on my list.
Yeah. So when you talk about, like, is Cortana listening and sending data that they're using, I'm not sure when she's actually. There are geeks who get on the network and track what data is being sent from your computer to another spot, and so there are people who are kind of monitoring this.
Well,
people that we enjoy. Yeah.
So Snowden was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about this, and he said that they were doing it, and I believe him. And he said that there are not aliens that he knows, which was a little disappointing for, I think, everyone. But now,
everyone,
you're like, some of the circles that you're running in right now, there's some pretty. But here's the thing: the Navy just released all this stuff. Like I don't know. Like I'm tending to believe that there are probably aliens. Like,
yeah. I think they're like this. If you just do the math, right? There's probably aliens somewhere else. And
no, I think they're here, Chris. I think they're straight up here. So I guess I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Nanu. Did you ever? You might be too young for that. Mork and Mindy.
No, right. Well, caught the tail end of it.
Yeah, a lot of
replays. Yeah.
All right. So Google lists 5 key shaping consumer behavior amid COVID-19. Again, patif to Matt Southern. And 5 key trends that Google listed in the report were more consumers using multiple devices. That's just interesting, right? I guess that's you're on your, like, I don't even know how.
You're on your phone and you're watching TV, or you're on the so I can tell you throughout today, I was on my phone and on the computer all day on both platforms, doing different things.
But weren't you like that at the office? Like when you were going to the office, like you're on your phone all the time and you're on your computer all the time. Like I'm trying to figure out what is the difference? Like pre-tablets, people would watch TV and not hop over to the computer to Google something.
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with that. I think that maybe they're on the home devices more. That's all I can think, right? And they're probably on less devices because they're not going to work.
Yeah, so it literally says more consumers using multiple devices. I'm like, okay, I don't picture it. I believe it. I just don't have like a mental image of how that's happening. The second one was increased. Google is very disappointed about this number 2, increased reliance on Google.
No, Google's changing stuff. They just changed on like the look. They keep changing the look of stuff to try to get like, better user interaction. But Google's worried. Like I think Google's worried, and people are starting to use other platforms to search. You know?
Number 3, people are creating and fostering relationships virtually. Well, that's not a surprise. You're at home. You can't imagine it would really suck to be single right now, right? Like if you're isolating in your house, like I know a lot of people, their kids actually moved back home, and we can do quote unquote kids, right? Because they're, grown up.
College students. Yeah.
But that's not a surprise. Adjusting routines to be at home first. Okay, well, that makes sense. And people are practicing self-care more, right? So one of the things he's talking about is, I think this is I don't know if
they're not working, so they have more time, and also I think working from home. Like some people, I think have adopted well, but I think other people, it's a new environment, and then if kids are home too, it's a stressor.
Yes.
And so they're having to do more self-care to manage, or they have more time to do self-care because they're either underemployed or not unemployed. Yep. Right.
Yep. No, that makes sense. And then it kind of goes through this. So multiple devices. It says people using multiple devices to go online at rates here. So maybe this is part of it. If you've got a fixed number of devices at your house, and now you're all at your house all day, you're using all of your devices. So maybe that's what it is. And in my head, it didn't equate, because my son on a tablet, my daughter on an old phone, me on my phone, and my wife on the computer, it feels like different people, but it's multiple devices, and Google wouldn't necessarily know the difference. Yeah. Interesting. Americans are watching roughly 12 hours of media content a day, right?
That is just insane.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I think we're all just, it's going to be Ready Player One pretty soon. We're just going to jump in virtually, forget to eat, and live in the virtual world.
It is assuming that we're not in a virtual world already, which Elon Musk says there's a 1 in 2 billion chance that we're not in a virtual reality right now. All right, next, he talks about searching for critical information. There's been an increase in searches for critical information, online grocery shopping, right? Grocery delivery. That search interest grew 23% year over year in the US. Watching more videos related to recipes and cooking, 31% higher than they did in March. And search interest in telemedicine is up 150% week over week in the US, right? So as time goes longer and they're like, well, I guess I'm not going to be able to get to my doctor. I need to address that somehow. Let me do that kind of virtual doctor search. People staying connected virtually. They staying apart physically. As of April, Google Meet is hosting 3 billion minutes of video meetings and adding nearly 3 million new users every day. Wow.
Well, I heard Zoom stock was up 800%, or I don't remember the number, or something like that. And it's just
they've done really good. I'm assuming that they're on the Amazon platform, and we're in a position to, think about how quickly they had to ramp up.
Yeah.
They didn't just add a bunch of computers. They just turned it on at AWS or something. That's brilliant preparation.
Yeah, no, I think they've done amazing. I think they're a staple now. So
And I'm disappointed that we haven't been Zoom bombed.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Yeah, I would like to get Zoom bombed.
We were watching American Idol the other day, and it cut to a screen of all these people, and they were singing, and I was joking with my wife, look, it's Zoom bombs. They just actually happened to sing the same song at the same time. 50% of U.S. consumers said they used video to communicate with family and friends. Not surprising. Yep. On YouTube, there has been a rise in quote unquote with me videos where people filming themselves going about ordinary tasks like cleaning, shopping, and cooking. So you can clean and shop and cook with me. I can proudly say I have not seen any of those videos at all.
That reminds me of, well, go on.
I give my son a hard time because he will watch a lot of videos of people playing video games, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's just crazy. Why are you doing that? Like, there's got to be something of value. Also, but I do have to add this. I had he's 10 years old. I had a conversation with him about dark matter that exceeded my understanding of dark matter. And he obviously did not learn that from me. So he's a pretty sharp kid, and is watching lots of stuff, and some of it sticks. But I actually got into a game, not like right before COVID, called Last Day on Earth. And now I'm like, hey, if I want to solve this, it's easier to just go watch a video of somebody else solving this. And then,
those are the walkthroughs. You used to go get the magazines for video games if you couldn't get past the level of the walkthroughs. I will tell you that there are people monetizing, talking, and playing the video games, making millions of dollars a year.
I think so. One of the things that you have to be able to do, and you and I have kind of talked about our communication styles, how they're a little bit different when addressing a group, and you tend to explain things multiple different ways, right? And I think ultimately what that does is it hits on people's different learning styles or whatever. And I'm kind of this engineer who's like, I said it, and then of course I said it the most efficiently way I could possibly say it. So I struggle to be able to say it again in a different to say it again, right? Because then I'm just repeating myself, and then in a different way because I'm an engineer and I said it the best way I possibly could. Monetizing, watching those videos, you've got to be able to keep the flow of conversation.
Well,
let me finish. I think my son might be able to do that. He talks incessantly.
Well, I think that I have been accused of being long-winded, right? So because I do say things multiple times for those A-type personalities that are very efficient, they don't want to hear it multiple times.
Yep.
I think that you do a good job of your communication style where you're overly interactive with the crowd, right? So you're constantly engaging them, and you're getting them involved, asking them questions, getting them to stand up, task, do this, do that. And that multiple senses being engaged, kind of cements or pegs the memory a little bit better. So I think your presentations are really memorable. So
great. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
that's very nice. Tell me more.
Yeah. Well, no. So I was looking at this article, this study with me, right? Video study with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see people wanting to, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know how college works. I don't know how school works anymore.
Yeah. No.
I don't know how the world is going to operate.
By the way, I didn't before COVID either, right? Right before COVID, I really didn't know what changes they've made in schools. I didn't know that much. And now everything that I didn't know has totally changed, right? But I remember, I used to have study groups. There's value in studying with somebody. And if you can't physically get together with them, you're going to do that online in some capacity, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Adjusting routines with no way of knowing how long this pandemic will go on. People are adjusting their routines to be internet first. I don't know exactly what that means. People are adapting their regular activity to meet the demands of isolation. Some examples include search interests for telecommuting in the U.S. reached an all-time high. Okay, that's not surprising. I don't know if you know this. Actual camera, and they may still be out of stock or whatever. But webcams, $300 for a previously $49 webcam, they were out of stock. right? Because
Well,
when the pandemic first happened, nobody was prepared at home. A
interesting.
vast majority weren't.
Interesting. I just know that
In stationary bikes. I don't know if you knew that.
Peloton or whatever it's called, I think is people are starting to, you know, like I think that that's picking up. It's seen in some Facebook groups that I'm in, like people are getting with it to get exercise and to do something to burn off everything because they're not even leaving their house, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you one of the benefits though of staying home. Like Adam, for example, he was telling me like, you know, we went into the office the other day to have a couple meetings, and he was like, man, like not telecommuting or whatever you want to call it, like working from home. He's like, you know, I'm saving an hour and a half every day. He was like, I'm getting way more stuff done. And he was asking me about working like, you know, one Friday, every other Friday off, like basically because he's working like, what is it, 1080s or whatever? Because that's what his wife works. So I was like, yeah, dude, like, you know, if you're being more efficient, but that's the interesting thing, right? Like we're dealing, like we got this nice office. We're almost finished with it. We just invested in Herculite doors.
Beautiful.
And now, right. And now it's like, we should just meet in like a hotel lobby, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, we don't need to spend that, and people might not want to even come in. So like rent's an interesting thing. I mean, what are your thoughts on the future of office building rentals? Like that used to be really a staple, like investment, right? And you know, like now people are saying, oh, I can just work from home. Like, what are your thoughts on that, Chris?
Well, I think that there were a great many people, right? So there's the spectrum, which is I could easily work from home. There's no way I could work from home for whatever reason, right? And if you draw a line in 50% of the way, then 50% of the people are more on the side of there's no way I'm going to work from home for whatever reason. You know, the wife is at home, the kids are at home, the dog's at home. They just need that kind of routine, whatever. Those 50% have now been exposed to something and really have had to figure out how to make it work when they didn't believe it could work before. So I think we're going to see a hell of a lot more telecommuting.
Well, I'm saying from like core businesses, like just scrapping rent. Like,
well, so if more and more people are telecommuting, then that puts the business in a position to be more, have more flex space where people are moving in and out of a particular space instead of having it reserved. You and I had kind of discussed early on and feel like getting the team together has a significant value. And I think, and really you're driving the team right now, you meeting with them on a regular basis, you've probably got a better perspective of, would this really work? Because I think you and I were on a fairly similar page, which is like just having everybody remote doesn't work as well as having everybody in the office.
I think that, I think that there's pluses and minuses, but I do think that there's something about human connection, like in person, that has to happen. I've been trying to make sure everybody talks on video, so you kind of see like the social signals that people are giving off, because like very little is just words. But really trying to stay connected. I mean, I'm talking to everybody and I'm having one-on-one conversations, which, you know, and we're having meetings, but I think that there still would need to be a component of actually like meeting up on a regular basis. Like I think once a week, or, you know, once every other week, like I think once a month, like we're going to do in the team building tomorrow for anybody that feels comfortable coming. But I mean, like, I think that you can't, we're social creatures. And I think that, we have to, we have to take it away.
And just to counter on that, not that I sit on your side, because I think more a people person. I like to be face to face and connecting with people, and not just face to face, but like person to person. That's interesting. We even have to talk about the difference, right? And I'm aware of successful organizations that are entirely virtual, right? So it can be done. And, you know, some of it is the leaders, you and I, going, well, does it fit into our model? And you know, as the leader,
I think we could. I think we could. I think I need to do some Googling on like, ways to enhance that. Like, and I think maybe, like what we had talked about doing for some of our people that were remote was putting TVs or monitors on the wall and then having them log in for a couple hours every day. So you can like see them working and you could like message them, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that there's ways to do that. I think that I just need to get a little more hip with what, how that's being done. But I think that, but also too, like, I think a lot of clients like want to meet, like they want to meet you. Like, there's that kind of, it just depends on your personality type, right? Yeah, some people don't care. Some people do. Like, it depends who you're dealing with. Right. And it depends, your team members, what they need, because people need different things. Right. So we should talk about hiring. We should talk about like, managing new team members, onboarding new team members, like all that stuff. I think there's some interest out there of people wanting to know what that is, what our best practices are, that sort of thing. So those are, I think, some of the things I should share. But self-care.
Yeah, self-care is the last one. Really, people cope with challenges. They're trying to focus on themselves. I've heard of people talk about COVID-15, kind of like freshman 15, gaining 15 pounds during COVID. I don't know anybody who's really sits in that category. I mean, I've seen a Facebook post here or there. I'm actually down this year. I'm down like 20 pounds this year. So I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah. It's patif to you, man. That's
I think I just like you work out. I was working out like since COVID hit and the gym's closed. Like, I haven't got a routine yet. I mean, I'm walking or whatever, but I'm just not eating. I'm just I'm just working. I'm just straight. I'm just like straight working and forgetting to eat.
Dedication diet.
I mean, like you just keep down in waters, right? And but yeah, I think, if you skip a meal in the calorie ratio, like it just works.
The math is pretty.
Yeah, math's great.
Well, and I'm also, I've been on Dr. Gundry's diet. This is the lectin-free diet. And part of it includes some intermittent fasting. And I'm just looking at being hungry differently. In the past, it was all about counting calories, and you're counting these calories, and being hungry sucks, right? And now being hungry is part of this self-care. And, whether you subscribe to intermittent fasting or not, there's amazing research on calorie restriction in general, but intermittent fasting to a lesser degree. But now I just look at that hunger as like, okay, well, this is part of the experience. It's actually ultimately not bad for you. It's good for some particular functions in the body.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I think I gotta wrap up here, Chris, but
self-care. People are searching for board. They're searching for games and puzzles. My kids and I are playing Uno and this monkey game. There are some silver linings in all of this.
Phase 10. We've been playing Phase 10.
So
I like Uno too.
Again, was Google list 5 key trends shaping consumer behavior amid COVID-19. Patif to Matt Southern. I'm just going to wrap this up. If you like this podcast, we ask you to tell how many people?
5. I don't know. Since you're at home more, like tell 5 people maybe.
Yeah, you're probably in front of a device where you could tell 5 people about it right now. That would be pretty easy. If you are looking to grow your business with the largest, simplest marketing tool on the planet,
the internet,
call EOWeb Results for increased revenue in your business. Our phone number is 713-592-6724. We were filmed live at 2 different locations in Houston. If you want transcript, video, audio of the podcast, you might be able to find it at BestSEO.
Well, yeah. Well, we're redoing that site, like, because we're rebuilding it with what we're using on the back end. That should be up next week. But we have most of the transcriptions, maybe not the last 2 or 3. I don't know. Because like in that transition, but we'll have it up there shortly. So.
Very cool. That wraps it up. We are one of the most popular internet marketing podcasts because of all of you all. Thank you so much. Everyone, please be safe and take care. I hope you're healthy and mentally sane and happy and everything you could possibly be. and successful with your internet marketing. Until the next podcast, my name is Chris Burres.
My name is Matt Bertram.
Bye-bye for
Bye
now.
for now.